When I bought my first home, I got £10,000 off the asking price. When I bought my second home, over £30,000 off the asking price. In this video, I'm going to go through 6 secrets that every first-time buyer needs to know in 2025. Make sure you watch into the end. Let's get into it. Hey guys, I'm back again. My name's Tayo Oguntonade, co-founder of a platform called Bricks with Tips, where we help you guys with property and wealth. For over 6 years, my wife and I have been creating content to help people get better with their finances and achieve their property goals. For over 10 years, we've been invested in property. All started with our first property though, which was bought for £150,000. That property was instrumental into building us a multi-million pound property portfolio. So whether you're buying one property or want to get 10, here is where you need to be to learn about property. So let's get into it. If you like the idea of what we've spoken about already, make sure you like and subscribe. And I'm going to challenge you guys. Please share this video with somebody. So today I've got a very, very practical video for you. So if you need to get a pen and paper, make sure you do so. We're going to go through practical, tangible secrets that first-time buyers should know when buying their first home. Maybe it's going to help you save money. Maybe it's going to help you find properties that other people aren't seeing. Maybe it's going to help you negotiate better or not, or maybe even just expect the costs that are going to come. We're going to go through it all. So without further ado, let's crack on. Right, guys, number one. Do you think every property gets listed on Rightmove and Zoopla? Think about it. Rightmove and Zoopla both come at a cost to agents. Some agents may choose to only list on one. Some agents actually may choose to list on none. Now, if we just think about it, let's use some hypothetical numbers. Let's say that Rightmove and Zoopla together will get that listing in front of 10,000 people. Just one of them is going to get it in front of 5,000 people. If the agent isn't using any of them, you've got a much smaller pool to compete with. Less competition, in this case, can mean that it's an opportunity to get cheaper prices. So what am I saying? Let me give you the tangible tip. Let's get practical. So guys, what I want you to do is in the local area, when you've decided where you want to buy, I want you to select one large estate agent, right? And 3 small estate agents. You can go in there directly or you can phone them up. Help them understand your property requirements specifically. Now, the reason why we're doing one large agent is that the sheer volume is insane, right? And sometimes when you go with one large agent and they know your property requirements, they'll say to you, hey, do you know what? This property is coming up in 1 week. We're just getting the photos. Would you be interested in it? Can I get you in for a viewing early? This means that you've got an opportunity to view properties earlier than everybody else. And this is actually a practical example from mine and Antoinette's story. The last home that we actually lived in and bought was because we went and viewed it when there was no pictures available. That means that we were only competing with like one other person that managed to do the same. And we managed to view it early and cancel the open house that was booked on a Saturday. Bear that in mind. The 3 smaller agents are going to be really, really good for you as well. Their marketing techniques may not be as good as the bigger agents, which means that there may be a huge delay before when they put it on their website and when it goes on platforms like Zoopla and Rightmove, meaning that you can swoop in when there's less competition and lock in the deal. Now, with that main tip aside, one thing I love is that you can always take things further, and you definitely can in this case as well. If there's a particular street or 2 that you're absolutely in love with, you can do handwritten letters in the doors, or you can use a service that will print and post letters in the houses of people that live there. A lot of people are considering selling, but they don't want a for sale sign outside of their house, for example, or they just need that trigger. You can write your letters coming from the standpoint is you're a first-time buyer looking to move into the area, you want to build a family there and so on and so forth, and pull on the heartstrings of potential vendors in the areas. Remember, while this sounds insane to you, doing it as someone wants to buy a house, this is a day-to-day task for any estate agent that is worth their weight in gold, right? They send unsolicited letters to people, right? So if they're doing business in that way, why can't you do that as an individual as well? Also, you could look at places like Facebook for properties as well. Go think outside the box, right? Or you could look at auctions that have concluded without a seller, right? Unsold units at auction. So if you amalgamate all of these tips, you can find properties beyond Rightmove and Zoopla. Secret number 2, guys, a lot of information about construction works, building works, regeneration plans are available online. Don't forget that. You need to become an expert on the area that you're buying in, right? And sometimes when you do some digging, it can reveal something horrible or reveal something great. For example, What we're talking about right now is understanding construction that's happening in the area, regeneration works, and so on and so forth. Now, as mentioned, this is a tangible video, so I'm going to give you 3 key examples where you can find this information. So, number 1, Local Planning Authority portal. Number 2, National Infrastructure Planning. And number 3, TfL Regional Transport Improvement Plans. Now, we want to be practical with this as well, so I'm not expecting you to do a deep dive for every property that you see on the market, right? Not expecting you to do a deep dive for every property you even go on a viewing on. But when you've gone on a second viewing or you're looking to put in an offer, you can learn a lot about the property or the area. Now, remember with this secret, we're looking for good as well as bad. So for example, you might find bad that they're going to build 3 massive tower blocks blocking your view of the London horizon if you are buying a property in a block yourself, right? Or you might find that there's going to be some disruptive works in the area for a 15-year period of time. On the other hand, you could learn about new train links, for example, new bus stops, or regeneration of a high street. These things that will help your asset go up in value. Look, I always say the purchase of a home is going to be one of your biggest financial transactions in your life. So based on that, you really, really, really want to make sure that you're doing it correctly and that you're considering everything. And this is going to help you to do so. Secret number 3, guess what? Your fixed mortgage before you complete can actually be changed. Guys, look, I know what it's like to be a first-time buyer. You've got your mortgage offer, mortgage accepted, you've got your fixed rate, and you hold it up like this, like a baby. You don't want to touch it, you don't want to disrupt it. But please, please, guys, pay attention to what's going on in the market, if mortgage rates are reducing, if you can save money. Now, there is a caveat to this tip, right? For this to work effectively, 2 things need to be at play. The market needs to be moving quite a lot and mortgage lenders changing their rate. And more about yourself. If you know that you were lucky to get that mortgage offer, and just chill out a little bit, right? But if you know that the deposit's there, the salaries are there, you got the pay slips, the credit is good, then please, 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 especially if it takes a while for you to complete. Sometimes you may get a mortgage offer in January and we get all the way to May and you haven't completed. At that point, mortgage rates might have dropped by, even a small drop by 0.5%, right? That could have an impact. So let's look at this. If you were taking out a 300k loan over 25 years at a rate of 5.09%, if mortgage rates dropped by 0.5%, you'd be saving £88 per month, basically. So if that's a 2-year deal you're taking, that's 2,100 over 5 years. If it's a 5-year deal you're taking, that's £5,300 over 5 years. Savings. That £5,000 could be put into so many things. Could be put into overpayments on the mortgage to get that paid down quicker. It could be put into tidying up a bathroom. So many different things. So let's not be scared to pivot, especially if you have the capabilities to do so. Practical example, leverage your broker. When you're getting close to completion, simply ask them about switching and going to a new fix. Is that possible? Is it likely you'll be accepted? Is it worth it based on what is out there in the market? And you can look yourself using websites like Moneyfacts. Secret number 4, the money in property is made when you buy. But people always think that they can only negotiate price at the point of buying and making an offer. Guys, welcome and introduce the survey. The survey in a property process, not going to teach you how to suck eggs, is when a professional goes round the property and gives a professional opinion that they've trained and studied for on the state of the property. Now, the key thing about a survey is that no matter how long the person has lived in the property, even for 20 years, there is a mutual understanding that this surveyor knows more than the person who's buying the property, yourself, more than the agent, and more than the person that's lived in there for 20 years, because they are a professional. Now, the thing about surveys as well, the surveyor is always going to highlight something. This needs to be fixed. This is getting dated. This is going to crumble in 3 years, or so on and so forth, basically. When there is something pointed out on a survey, it's a great place to start negotiations. What you can do, tangible steps, is get quotes, right? Get people to quote you based on a survey, a rough quote. The surveyor might actually give an example of how much something like how much the remedial costs might cost as well, right? Now, you don't make it a money move straight away and say, oh, I want a reduction of this. You got to play the game a little bit. Dance around a little bit. Do the tango with them. So you say to them, hi, look, This has been raised in the survey. Just so we get things moved on as quickly as possible, do you mind remediating this before exchange? Right? Now, this is good because if they do remediate it, it's good. You get a better asset in the end, right? And you might not get that reduction, but at least they've gone and done something to the property. But because of the stresses of moving for themselves, the fact that they want to sell quickly, they may say, no, we can't do it. So then you move on to a reduction. The reduction based on quotes and the professional opinion that you have in hand. Hopefully that makes sense. And I'll give you a tangible example. There's a quote that the roof needs 3K worth of works to repair. You go back and forth with the vendor. They agree to 2,500. That's 2,500 knocked off the price of the property that you're buying. All good. Secret number 5. This one's more about you just locking in and making sure you're not making any mistakes. Guys, when you are going through the process, please make a list of all of the hidden costs. We have a list, a document of all hidden costs in the Home Buyers Club. So for those of you who are joining the Home Buyers Club, which is a platform where we help first-time buyers get to their first property, we've done so successfully over the last 2 years, then you can look into something like that. But you can find it online, and I'll give you some examples right now of the hidden costs to ensure that you are not caught out. You don't want to be caught out in a process like this. So guys, any things like locks, alarms, blinds, removals, your first food shop, broadband setup, deep cleans, council tax, contingencies for repairs is a key one as well, right? I'm going to give you a tip as well. Tangible tips, tangible takeaways. That's what we're about. Bricks with tips, tangible tips, right? So in the conveyancing process, there is a document called a TA10. This is called a fixtures and fittings form, right? And this is what your vendor actually goes through to tell you what they are leaving in the property, what they are taking, and what they are willing to sell. This can help you factor in or save some costs as well, right? Because in some cases, a vendor may be moving into a new build, for example, that comes with fridge, freezer, washing machine, and everything. So in their case, it's probably more headache to try and sell their fridge, washing machine, and so on and so forth. You would have seen it on the viewing and seen the condition it is. Now, this isn't for everybody, but saving on white goods can save a lot of money, especially if they are in good condition and they're going to get a deep clean anyway. Washing machine, fridge, freezer, all of those bits and pieces, right? So make sure you pay particular attention to the TA10 form. In some cases, when it comes to the TA10 form, they may sell you items as well. Guys, negotiate heavy with these bits as well, because if they're not going to sell it to you, they're going to have to sell it to someone else. The difference between someone else is that they may have to ship it or organize collection. A lot of the time, they're going to be willing to go to a lower price for you. But all in all, be careful of those hidden costs. Last but not least, secret number 6 is your EPC, your Energy Performance Certificate. These last 10 years, and sometimes the property that you're moving into, the EPC is dated and old. Now, what your EPC does, it tells you the energy performance of the property itself, right? It tells you how green the property is. But this also has an impact on your pocket, because if it's got a bad EPC, it can mean that it's going to cost you way more to run the house than it would than a house with a better EPC, basically. In short, the worse the EPC, the more expensive your household bills will be. So your practical tip is to check the EPC and the date of the EPC. Also, you could actually, in the conveyancing process, sometimes ask the vendor for evidence of their energy bills, their last energy bills, so you can gauge what sort of energy bills you'll be looking at. If you have an investment head as well, this could be important for you, because at some point, if you want to let your property out, it may transpire that landlords, if they want to let out their property, need an EPC of C and above. So you definitely need to bear that in mind and always think forward when you're looking at property. So guys, that concludes the 6 secrets. The difference between a good first-time buyer and an average one is preparation. It's not luck, right? You need to be intentional. Think about how intentional you need to be to even think about buying your first home in the first place, right? You need to ensure that you do more than the average person does and don't just float into it. Now, for some of you, if you want to go that extra mile and get that guidance, that roadmap, we call it a roadmap because in the Home Buyers Club, we have actively taken several people, hundreds of people from, I want to buy my first home, how do I do it, to, wow, I've completed, this is amazing, God is good. Now, what we do in the Home Buyers Club is a mixture of online resources for you, one-to-ones with myself directly, webinars, and a community that can help you get from A to B, being into your first home with your keys. So if you are interested in joining the Home Buyers Club, just click the link below, where upon joining, you automatically get an induction one-to-one with myself, where I understand your needs when it comes to buying your first home and take you through that. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this video. Please do share it with someone. Comment which of the secrets do you like the most, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.